regulated by the FCC, by the government. And in many other countries, it's free. It's a free service. It's part of a robust democracy is to provide free media for anyone, everyone who's running. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, remember the woman who said that just now, who said, you know, people thought that the fall of communism in 1989 was the ultimate triumph of free market capitalism. And, you know, during the Cold War, which I lived through, the Cold War was not a war about political systems. It was a war about economic systems. Which economic system was going to win the day? Okay, so was it going to be, you know, communism, or state socialism is what it really was, or is it going to be free market capitalism? And so when the wall came down, everyone said, oh, it's the end of history, it's the end of ideology, free market capitalism reigns, now it's going all over the earth, which it's done. And, you know, so the question is it the triumph of free market capitalism? I mean, it's only been less than 20 years, and now it's already imploding on itself again. So, you know, my question is, how might this unfettered free market capitalism morph into something else?
I think it has a high chance to morph into something else. The only thing is, I really don't know how, because we was dealing with Mikhail Gorbachev, okay, during the time of the Cold War.
Yeah.
The problem is, just because we thought the fall of communism was it, we've forgotten that the UN makes up the Committee of 300, and the Committee of 300 makes up the Club of Rome. And the Club of Rome's president is Mikhail Gorbachev, and he's telling everybody around the world, with all the people that's joined with him, what to do, and they're telling the UN what to do, and it's like we just follow along. What
are they telling you what to do?
If there's a situation with money, oil, war, population control, everything, oil, business, commerce, hey, they tell the world what to do. That's all it is. If you don't check out the Club of Rome, matter of fact, they changed their website and eliminated half the stuff that they were talking about. They said this many people have to die, this many people should stay alive, there has to be a war around this area, a certain amount of people can stay or survive.
Would you consider the Club of Rome to be a global think tank?
Very much so. It makes up all the spiritual leaders, educational, political, people who control, like even your own neighborhood watch group probably might join it. And
extra credit. If you guys, this is an organization that's been around for quite a long time. If you guys want 2 points of extra credit, which is pretty good, write 2 pages on what this thing is and what your view on it is.
The Club of Rome.
The Club of Rome.
Will we be limited to 2 pages? Because Club of Rome is more than 2 pages.
I know.
So if we write a book, how many points is that worth?
A semester.
Just check it out for 2 points.
Because they're talking about sustainability also.
Yeah.
Someone said that the Club of Rome goes as far back as the Inquisition.
Farther. But like they're just in people's faces since like the 60s.
He's been studying it for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, when were you my student last? Like 4 years, 3 years ago? It was around the time of the last election.
Yeah. I was upset over that.
Yeah. Yeah. You and everybody, well, not everybody.
I was like, yeah, he's going to be given a sword and given a crown real easy.
Okay, so if we're going to look at this with a positive spin, with an optimistic eye, and looking toward creating a sustainable economy, what would we like this to morph into?
More social programs. I think it's going to go towards getting money and putting it into services that people use often, because they're not using fear to push us anymore. We're using the fear that they have for their market to fuel their votes. You know, maybe they're not voting in our interest, but they recognize that, you know, we're not afraid of our economy collapsing. We're afraid of them giving our money to an economy that's about to collapse knowingly and willingly. And I think that that's one of the things that's become a major part of this election, is everybody's looking at both candidates' economic programs and going, okay, be more specific. Tell us what you're going to do. And neither candidate can.
Well, they're both candidates for capitalism.
And it's getting really depressing. And since we have the internet, a lot of people are saying, you know, they sent out a huge, massive email saying, well, if that's $700 billion, you can give us each all
$250,000.
Yeah, $250,000. And so many people got that. And also, there was a thing to send Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, how we felt about it out on the internet. And she got tons of emails of just people saying, why would you do this? And I think that because people are saying, why would you do this? This is what I want you to spend it on. They have an accurate view of what most people want. And with all the things they've been cutting, you know, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of science, a lot of economics.
This could create a revolt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this could create a taxpayer revolt like we've never seen before.
And it's getting a lot more people involved than there's ever been involved, because we know we've got more resources now than we've ever had before, and people aren't afraid to go online where you're completely anonymous and write and write. And we fact-check. We have never fact-checked so many different candidates as we have this last election.
True.
Like every day. Just a list of this is what they said, this is wrong.
And it's not a Republican or Democratic issue. You have
It's
tons of Republicans
It's
saying this
worldwide.
bailout sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
The problem is they're going to turn into, like, I don't want to put it this way. It might sound good the way it would sound. Everybody zero out your money first, okay? Everybody's zero account. Now everybody gets a certain amount of money according to what you have in your house, how many kids you have. Everybody, if you have 3 kids, you get this much money. You have 1, oh, you only get that much money. This is what you need to do. You go to this job, that job.
See, but this
it's like
is
a
still
worldwide
a loan.
welfare.
I mean, let's say they gave everybody $250,000. It's still a loan. We don't have that money in the Treasury.
Oh, they would do it like they do welfare or TANF or something, you know, they allot you a certain amount of money just to sustain your family. Because sustainability, once again, is not the ultimate goal of everybody high technology, but just what it needs for you to survive, what you need to get by, what you need to pay your bills. Hey, you need to go to the hospital. We'll take care of that for you. But the problem is, that's all it is. It's just welfare around the world. If every single political system is collapsing with their economics, it's all just ransacked. It's jacked. They're going to have to say, let's put this together, let's take care of your country, let's take care of your country and your country, and since your country owes money to this country, no more. You don't. Nobody owes money anymore. All the countries, like, they're going to be happy. We're going to be saying, oh, thank you, no more
Let's just start over again, right?
Well, one of the things, too, is I think what they need to limit is, one of the things that they do not limit in this country is they need to do it by your income. When you apply for a credit card, you should have to show what your expenses are and what they are, because I couldn't believe this. We recently had a bunch of people together, and there were people starting to talk about how much money they were in debt, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in credit card debt. And here I was thinking, oh my gosh, I feel horrible because I have $800 in credit card. And that's the most I've ever had in my life because, well, that's living beyond my means. And if you don't live within your means and live what you're, make a budget, then why these credit card companies should not be allowed by law to give you carte blanche just because your credit score says that you have a credit score of 700 or 800, which is the highest. But if you have $50,000 in debt, your credit score is probably 200 or 300.
It's great for them.
But it's so easy to file for bankruptcy. And each time we do that, our system gets weaker and weaker. And it's, when they're sending out credit cards to 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds and the federal government is allowing it.
They own them as soon as they do it.
And you literally hear of kids committing suicide in college because they already have $20,000, $30,000 in credit card debt, and that does not include their student loans.
Once you owe them, it's like you're in debt and you're their slave now.
We don't even have a gold reserve in this country anymore, and we haven't in about 25 years, and I think most people don't realize that. It used to be we had a reserve to maintain our banks, our economic system that was actual gold bullion where you could go into this place in Dallas or somewhere like that, go underground. It's gone.
Isn't that why they went out to Jonathan May and his property? He was starting to start a bank of his own because he had a lot of silver, a lot of extra land, that kind of stuff.
That's what they did. But you can only own a certain amount of gold now in this country.
Exactly.
Well, they went away from the gold standard years ago.
Well,
in the 70s, I think. Yeah, they detached the dollar from gold because they had to just keep printing out dollars. I mean, there was not enough gold.
And you can't regulate gold. We wouldn't be able to regulate our economy if we still have gold.
Right.
We'd be way all over the place.
Yeah.
Even more than we are.
True.
But there's just they need to pull back on the credit card companies and the mortgage companies who give money to people who, too much money to people who really cannot afford it.
It's not just that, too. We spend a lot of money in foreign countries, and with how bad our economy is, I really feel that what we need to do is pull back and reevaluate ourselves before we outstretch to other places. And part of that, you know, I know everybody feels like, oh, we should be doing something to protect our oil, we should be doing something to protect our threats. But it doesn't matter if we have a big revolution. The fact that we're in war over there won't mean anything if things fall apart here. And if we pulled back, we'd be saving so much more money than sending aid to people when we can't aid ourselves, than, you know, funding more.
Perfect segue into the next thing that I want to discuss with you guys. And then we'll talk about this for 15 minutes and then we'll go home early, okay? I went to a conference this weekend, West Coast Green, down in San Jose, and I saw Al Gore speaking. He was amazing. Jerry Brown, amazing. And I picked up a book there that is so intriguing me, and it's called, it's by a philosopher, and it's called Ethics for a Finite World. I can't even remember his name right now, but I've started to read it, and it's just really messing with me a little bit. And it's about, that subtitle has something to do with sustainability. So, and Jerry Brown, who used to be our governor and who's now, I think, again, our attorney general, he's always in and out of something, he brought up a really interesting point, and this ties into what you just said, and it also ties into what we've studied with the economy and now the ecosystem that you guys have been reading about. And he said that the word, if you look at the word eco, okay, we look at ecosystem, and we also have this word economy, right? With eco. And if you look back and you trace back the meaning of this word, and it goes back to ancient Greece, to Greek, and it means household, right? So the ecosystem is our household, right? It provides the goods and services, it supports life, it takes care of us. The economy is a subset household of the larger household. So the economy is a subset of the ecosystem. The economy relies on the ecosystem for resources and services.